Our essential question for today is, how do I write equations in standard form? And as you can see, I don't have enough room, so I needed to draw an arrow to the rest of my essential question. The standard form of a line is in the form of ax plus by equals c, where a is a positive integer and b and c are integers. We need you to memorize that. What does that mean? A is a positive integer. That means a is a whole number, b and c can be negative. There are a couple of things that we'd like for you to remember when we're writing an equation in standard form. Again, it must be in ax plus by equals c. A can be either positive or negative. Some books say A has to be positive. I prefer my A to stay positive. Also, B and C have to be integers, which means B and C can be negative. Now, what we're going to do in this particular lesson, example 1, 2, 3, and 4, we're going to work those examples. I'm only going to work example number 1. You are going to work examples 2 and 4 on your own and use my work to check it. Example number 3, I will work with you and for you because it's just a little different. Before we begin this section, I need you to remember the only thing we're really doing is moving our items around. We're moving everything around so that we can get it in ax plus by form. The first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to rewrite my problem so that I can use my line for balance and start moving things around. As you can see, I placed a 1 in front of my y simply because if you have a letter with no number in front, add your 1 to it so that you will have a number in order to do your conversions or your moving around. I draw my line for balance and I begin working my problem. We want our AX and our BY on the same side. So that means that we're going to take our negative 3x from side B and move it to side A. How do you do that? You do the opposite of negative 3x, which is a positive 3x. So you're going to write plus 3x on side B. You're also going to write a plus 3x on side A. We want our problems to go straight across instead of up and down. So I am going to rewrite my problem on side A. Remember, it needs to be in ax plus by form, so I am simply going to write 3x plus 1y equals. Now, we're looking at side B. When your top number and your bottom number look exactly alike, except one is negative and one is positive, you can cross them out and bring down what you have left over. So that simply means that we're going to bring down our 2. This is ax plus by equals c form. Remember, problem examples number 2 and number 4 work exactly like examples number 1. I'm going to work those problems for you, and then I'll come back on and do example number 3 for you. I'm going to pause it so that you can start working. Make sure that you do your work and use my work to check. Okay, thank you for the pause. Hopefully you have answered examples number 2 and examples number 4. Again, example number 2 works exactly like example number 1. Example number 4 is a little bit different because, as you can see, my section in black, my AX is negative. Remember, I do not like negative AXs, so I have to change that negative AX to a positive. How do I do that? I simply multiply everything by a negative 1. You see the changes being made to your problems in red. -1 times -4 is positive 4x. You see that on the bottom in red. -1 times positive 2y is negative 2y. You see that on the bottom in red as well. And finally, -1 times positive 2 is your -2. That is in the bottom in red as well. You can leave it like you see it in black with your AX being negative, or you can change it to the red. Either way works. I just prefer the red as opposed to the black. Example number 3. Example number 3 has my X as a fraction. That requires a little bit more work, something just a little bit different. So I'm going to pause it for a moment, work the problem out, and I'll explain it when I come back. Okay, thank you for being patient and pausing with me. Example number 3. 1 minus 5y equals -2/3 x. Now remember, we have to have our x and our y on the same side. In this particular case, our x is on side B. So I'm going to move my -5y to side B. How do I do that? I do the opposite of -5y, which gives me a positive 5y. So remember, what you do to side A, you have to do to side B. Also, when your top and your bottom look exactly alike, except one is negative, one is positive, they cancel each other out. That's why on side A, I'm left with 1. Side B, I have -2/3 x plus 5y. Also, I need to caution you because this problem is different. Why is it different? Because my AX is a fraction. We want our AX to always be a whole number. How do we change our fraction to a whole number? In this particular problem, we simply multiply everything by the denominator or by the bottom number. Also, you have to remember, I like my AX to work as a positive number. So that simply means that I'm going to multiply everything by a -3. You see the changes that have been made to your problem in green. I multiplied everything in black by -3. -3 times 1 is -3. -3 times a -2/3 x is a positive 2x. -3 times 5y is a -15y. You can leave it in green if you'd like, or you can simply switch it around to what you see in red. Either one of those problems will work. This is examples 1 through 4. I hope that you've written these down because now we're moving to page 2. On page 2, you have example 5 and example 6. Example 5 works just like example 1, example 2, and example 4. So I'm not going to explain that one to you. I'm simply just going to work it out. But I will explain example number 6. Again, thank you for pausing. Example number 5. Y, again, I placed a 1 in front of my y simply because I needed a number in order to do my math or do my calculations. So I rewrote my problem and I moved my 3x from side B to side A. The 3x on side B is positive, so when it moves over to side A, it becomes a negative. That's why you see a -3/4. I'm sorry, I keep saying 3x. It's a -3/4 x. That's why you see a -3/4 x in red on the bottom. Again, we like for our problems to go straight across instead of up and down, so I simply rewrote side A. -3/4 x plus 1y. On side B, my top 3/4 is positive, my bottom 3/4 is negative. So they cancel each other out, and I bring down my 3. Pay close attention to the negative 3/4 x. That is my AX. My AX has to be a whole number. So how do I turn that fraction into a whole number? I have to multiply using the number on the bottom. We also want my AX positive, so therefore I need to multiply by a negative number. I use whatever number is on the bottom. In this case, I'm going to multiply the entire equation by negative 4. Negative 4 times negative 3/4 x gives me a 3x. Negative 4 times positive 1y gives me a negative 4y. And negative 4 times 3 gives me a negative 12. Now we're going to do example number 3. Then we're going to move on to the last two examples, which requires you to do just a little bit more. Not example number 3, I'm so sorry, example number 6. Ooh, sorry that the screen went black, but that's what we deal with when we're dealing with technology. Let's keep it moving. Example number 6. The first thing that I'm going to do is simply work out my problem. Okay. Whew. Oh my goodness, thank you. I know. Oh my goodness, thank you for coming back. Let me go ahead and minimize the screen. Okay, example number 6. The first thing that I did was I worked out my problem. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times negative 8 is is positive 16. You want to combine like terms, which simply means you want to take that 3 and move it to the same side as your 16. And as you can see, the changes being made to my problem are in red. Remember, when your top number and your bottom number look alike, on one side you can cancel them out. 16 minus 3 gives you a positive 13. We move over to our margin, and now we have 1y equals negative 2x plus 13. Also, you need to remember that we simply want our AX and our BY on the same side. So we're going to take that 2x from side B and move it to side A. And what do? Because it's going up and down, we want it across, we simply rewrite it. So now we have 2x plus 1y equals 13, and this is the final answer to my problem in red. These final two problems, write the equations of a line for the given information in standard form. Start with slope-intercept form or point-slope form, then manipulate the equation. Manipulate the equation simply means move things around just like we were doing earlier. I'm going to again pause it because this is a lot of math computation work involved, and then I'll come back on and explain my steps. Okay, let's look at the first example. We started with our slope. Remember, M represents our slope, and then we are given an ordered pair. So what I did was I used slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. Instead of writing the letter y, I use my ordered pair. I replace my y with 2. My m, I replace my m with negative 2/3, and my x, I use my negative 6. So what I'm doing in the red and green problem, I am solving for b. Negative 2/3 times negative 6 gives me a positive 4. So that second line in red, I have 2 equals 4 plus b. Again, I am solving for b. So I combine my like terms, which means I combine my 2 and my 4. I take my 4 from side B and move it to side A. Since it's positive on side B, in order for me to move it to side A, it has to become negative. That's where you see the minus 4 in green. 2 minus 4, that's a subtracting integer problem because my top number is small and my bottom number is large. My answer is going to be negative 2. Now I move over to the green and black problem. I have 1y equals, again, my slope is represented by my m, and my m is negative 2/3. This time, instead of writing negative 6 for my x, I am going to write negative 2 for my b. Now I move my negative 2/3 x to the same on the same side with my 1y. Because my 2/3 x is on side B, I need to move it to side A. How would I do that? I do the opposite of negative 2/3, which is a positive 2/3. That's what you see in black. Again, my screen is going black. I don't know what's going on. Please forgive me for that. That's what you see in black, the negative 2, the positive 2/3 x. Remember, what you do to side A, you have to do the exact same thing to side B. So I'm going over to side A, and I am going to rewrite my problem because, of course, we like for our problems to go straight across as opposed to up and down. So negative 2/3 x becomes a positive 2/3 x. So I have 2/3 x plus 1y equals negative 2. All I did was brought my negative 2 down. Remember, I do not want a fraction for my ax. I have to have a whole number. So what do? I multiply everything by a positive 3. That's why you see that red 3 on the outside. 2/3 x times 3 is 2/3 x. 3 times 1y is 3y. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. Okay, now I'm moving to this second problem, my second example. My second example here, I have two ordered pairs. I always put my numbers on top of my ordered pairs so that when I'm using my slope formula, I don't mess up. My slope formula is y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. My y1 is my negative 4. My my y2 is negative 3. So over here on the side, you have negative 4 plus 3. Because remember, negative and negative give you a positive. And now I'm moving to my x1 and my x2. My x1 is 0 and my x2 is negative 2. But negative and negative give you a positive. That's why I have a plus 2. Negative 4 plus 3 is negative 1. 0 plus 2 is 2. So my slope, or my m, is negative 1/2. What do? I then come over, and you see the problem in green. I use the slope-intercept form. 1y equals negative 1/2 x minus 4. Remember, when I went from my ordered pairs to my slope-intercept form to solve for b, I got negative 4 as b, and then I came back over and I replaced my b with my negative 4, and I solved this particular problem just like I solved the problem before. We are done with this lesson. Remember, when you are doing your summary, you need to write 1, 2, or 3 sentence questions. I'm sorry, when you're doing your summary, you need to write 2 or 3 sentences as well as formulas that you think you'll need when you go back over your notes and study for your test.